Hey everyone, welcome back to Mangastorian, the series where I sit down and... Hey everyone, welcome to Mangastorian, and today we're going to try this Mr. B style. Today we're going to talk about One Piece, Amazon Lily style. Let's cut to the video. Hey everyone, this is... Today on the episode, we're going to talk about Luffy getting himself groped by a bunch of Amazon women, we're going to talk about Boa Hancock, and we're going to talk about my adventures becoming a CrossFit cult guru guy trying to convince people to read One Piece. That's right, you're here at Mangastorian. Play the role, Kevin. Do we have an intro? All right, usual recap. I'm reading the manga, not watching the anime, which means that what you found to be important or interesting in the anime might not be the same in the manga. Also, I'm going off of the notes that I wrote while reading this entire series, meaning that these are the things that stood out to me. That is it. I'm trying to keep that as condensed as possible this far along. Yeah, I probably should keep it condensed. Just so you guys know, I did notice we've gone over chapter 500, but that's not actually halfway, because isn't there like 1,100 chapters? If that's the case, I need to get a little bit more into it, but I am aware we crossed 500. It's a pretty big accomplishment considering I can't stay focused on anything for more than like 5 minutes. My brother calls me a coked up squirrel with how often I change focus. So it's impressive that I've gotten this far into One Piece, but it's that incredible. And speaking about how incredible it is, let's tell a story. Because Amazon Lily is only like 10 chapters long. It's actually not that long. So there isn't too much to talk about. So let me tell you a little bit of story time. So I went to Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend. Needed a little break from everything going on, and a buddy invited me to come out and hang out. I showed up, and I don't know how we were talking about Netflix and the One Piece show, so of course I was discussing One Piece. I mentioned One Piece a lot. Going onto the floor, I was looking for One Piece products because my wife couldn't come with me and she's a fan of Zoro. So I'm like, let's find something Zoro related at a Comic-Con. So I'm talking about One Piece a lot. Day 2, my buddy Sal and his wife Tiffany arrived, and Sal and Tiff are walking around, and Tiff loves manga, so I'm talking about One Piece. I'm telling her how great One Piece is, and I'm pointing out different cosplay for One Piece. I apparently mentioned One Piece so much that our other buddy is like, you know, you're like a CrossFit trainer? Like, what are you talking about? He goes, you know how they're always like trying to convince people to join the cult of CrossFit? Yeah, you're doing that with One Piece. You're just trying to convince everyone that One Piece is amazing. And I'm like, holy crap, when did that happen? I'm a part of the cult of One Piece. Cult of the D. So apparently, if you hang out with me now, you're going to hear about One Piece and what parts I'm in. Which made me realize every time Kevin and I have hung out, we've talked about One Piece. And whenever I talk to Dan, it's talking about One Piece. And now that my wife is watching the anime, we're talking about One Piece. It's all consuming. I am now a straw hat at this point. Anyway, let's talk about my adventures reading the Amazon Lily chapter, which, like I said, I'm not expecting to be too much. Anyway, before we can get to the Amazon Lily, I do want to bring about our sponsor today, me! We made a hot sauce. It's called This Hot Sauce is the brand, and our first one is Hatchin' Jalapeno. If you enjoy a mild hot sauce that is a whiskey-infused hot sauce, I don't have the pepper list. I think he got it written on the back of this so I can make it easy. Jalapeno peppers, lime juice concentrate, bourbon, green bell peppers, white onions, and carrots. It's a great sauce. We're super proud of it. I'll put the link down below if you want to support us and this channel and help us get this hot sauce off the ground. Now let's talk about Amazon Lily. Like I said, 8 times, but then wanted to tell you a story because that's what this channel's turned into. Benny's adventures in the world of One Piece and the stories related to that. I'd already read a little bit of this right when we finished Sabaodi's arc because I needed to know if they survived and what happened. I mean, I knew they survived, but I didn't know what happened and I really wanted to know. So Luffy, of course, gets separated from the rest of the group. That was humorous because now we no longer have all these support characters. We're just following Luffy, kind of like we did at the very beginning of this whole story. Which I felt was a good place to put this halfway through. I don't know if he intended to go to 1,100, but we are about halfway, probably at one point what he was intending. 500 is just an impressive number to cross, even if he was never going to get to 1,000. So I felt like he was just like, oh, let's just kind of bring things back to the bare bones. So we went all the way back to the beginning, just Luffy looking for his crew. Now it's a little different this time around because we're obviously looking for people he knows, Zoro, Nami, Brook, all these different characters. I don't know why Brook came to my head before, say, Sanji or Usopp, but whatever, I like skeletons. Moving on. Luffy goes out and he's looking for food initially because Luffy is always looking for food and he eats a mushroom. This mushroom causes a series of mushrooms to grow all over his body, which in itself was already kind of humorous. But then the Amazon women pick him up and bring him to the town. They keep calling him she, and I'm a little confused myself. I'm like, what did I miss? Because they haven't established at this point that the Amazon women are only women. There's no men on this island. So they're continually ripping off these mushrooms, and of course they come to his penis. And they can't get that mushroom off. It's really well on there. So they're groping and tugging and trying to get it off until the old lady is like, that is a man. Stop it. That eventually leads to Luffy waking up inside of his prison cell, and the first thing that he notices, bear in mind he's naked, is that his hat is missing. He reaches for the hat before he reaches for pants, which I just thought was a funny side note and just tells you how important that hat is to Luffy. While this is going on, we are introduced to, I'm assuming, someone who's going to be a very important character at this point, Boa Hancock. She is the most beautiful woman in the entire Grand Line, is the way they put her across. And she has the ability to turn you to stone if you are in any way, shape, or form romantically interested in her. Interesting concept. I found that fun. They are summoning her to Ace's execution, which is going to be happening very, very soon, and they want all of the 7 warlords there and the Navy to, I guess, make sure it goes through or fight someone. I think what they're concerned about is that Whitebeard's crew is going to show up to save Ace, so they just want everyone there in case a big war breaks out. But quickly after she turns everyone to stone and denies that, we do learn that she's afraid to leave the island. She's like just terrified. She doesn't want to leave the island. And they also comment at one point that her and her sisters, the Gorgon sisters, no one's allowed to see their backs because they have the eyes of a Gorgon and it'll turn you to stone. So a lot of lore is kind of thrown on Boa Hancock and her 2 sisters. What I found to be interesting about all of this is Luffy has gotten his clothes back. They put frills on it, which was hilarious. And he's like, this is for girls! And he rips it off. I love that part. But eventually, Luffy meets up with Boa Hancock. He gets booted into the sky and falls into their bathhouse. And she tries to turn him to stone, but he is so uninterested in anything sexual, he's immune to her abilities. Which I found hilarious because it's Luffy and he at no point has expressed romantic interest in anybody. And this just hammers home the fact that that's not even on his radar. He is so simple-minded to just fulfill his dream of being the king of the pirates. He's not even considered anything romantic. It is proven by he's the only person that can't be turned to stone by Boa Hancock. Now, if they explain that better later, there's more to it, oh, he's super special or super awesome, that's fine. But in this chapter, it's just implied he has zero interest in her naked body, which I just found hilarious. This leads to Luffy being tied up. The 3 women who saved him confess to saving him. They get turned to stone. And then again, we get to see the hero that Luffy really is. He agrees to fight against Boa Hancock and her sisters, not to get the pirate ship that he's looking for to get to his crew. No, he's doing it entirely to save the 3 women who got turned to stone because they saved him. That is his focus. That's what he cares about. He doesn't care. He's looking around for a way to get to his crew. He wants a pirate ship to get off this island of women, and he wants to get over there. But it's hilarious because, not hilarious, but it's a testament to his character that the moment somebody gets stoned trying to help him, that is his focus. I'm going to save these people. I don't care about the ship. He gets into a battle against the women. They're constantly trying to hide their backs, a lot of transformations. He's losing, he's winning. It goes back and forth for a minute until eventually one of the sisters gets sprung out over a pit and he covers her back because he knows that they can't show their backs. And this is an act of kindness that he's showing to the people trying to kill him. So what that eventually turns into is Boa Hancock is we will give you a gift. You can either save these women or you can have your boat. And again, he just doesn't even hesitate. He just, oh yeah, unfreeze them. Free them. just more testament to Luffy's character. Now, I bring up Luffy's character quite a bit because my wife, as I've mentioned a few times, has started watching the anime. She loves anime, but if an anime is nothing but fights, she will lose interest. That's why she's never been a fan of Dragon Ball, because it does really boil down to just 20-episode fight sequences. She loves Demon Slayer, hates Blacksmith Village arc. Because Blacksmith Village arc is Tanjiro and Nezuko going to the Blacksmith Village, and within 2 episodes, they're just in a fight. There is no help. There is no friends. Blonde-haired guy whose name I can never remember because he's blonde-haired guy and Inosuke, they're not there, and she hates that arc. She doesn't like it. So her concern going into One Piece, since One Piece is a shonen, is that it would be focused entirely on fighting. And we had a whole discussion about this, and this is why one thing I've grown to love about Luffy, and I know I'm the guy that for 200 chapters said I don't like Luffy's character. But Luffy doesn't care about showing you how strong he is. So many anime and manga always boils down to, I'm gonna fight you because I'm gonna prove I'm better than you. That is the entire basis of Dragon Ball. Like, that is literally the entire idea behind it. And a lot of other things boil down to that. Demon Slayer boils down to, like, oh, we're gonna stop this demon because I gotta show him how strong I am. Oh, you challenged me, this person's gonna stand up and get stronger. And I know it's a shonen trope and it's fine. I enjoy it. She does not. So we had this whole discussion of one of the reasons I think I've grown to love Luffy, and when I finally understood Luffy, which, if you guys remember, was around like 150, it was Alabasta, it was about that moment that I finally started to understand Luffy, is Luffy doesn't care if you think he's strong. Luffy doesn't care to show you how strong he is. I can't think of a moment where he fought with the intensive purpose of showing you his strength. Every time that he has gotten into a fight, it has been to save somebody, to help somebody's dream. He's never just been like, check out, I'm going gear 29 because I can to show you I'm awesome. Like, I think the most incredible fights that he's had have always been, my friend's on the other side of this wall, I need to get there. Saving Robin or saving Vivi. It was never, he was defeated Crocodile, not to show Crocodile how strong he is, but to defeat Crocodile from taking over Alabasta. Even when we were in Skypiea, his fight against the god, I can't remember his name anymore. Wow, he's not that important. I know someone's gonna hate me for saying that. I know, he was on the moon too. I read the cover stories. But anyway, that wasn't the same deal. He was just trying to remove, Dan's looking at me weird, he's watching the filming. Yeah, that guy goes to the moon, Dan. He gets there. Going back to our story here, this just hammers home. And it's so weird that I was having this discussion with Natalie. Then I finished these chapters and I'm like, again, Luffy's not trying to fight Boa Hancock or his sisters to show that he's strong. He's barely doing it for the boat. He wants the boat, but he's barely doing it for that. In the end, it turned into a fight to save people again. That's all it turned into again. Luffy is saving people, and that is his focus. He's a different pirate. And the more we go into this, the more I just love that character twist for him. Because I know when I first started hearing about One Piece, I'm like, it's a story about pirates. They're going to be comical, and they're going to be mean, and they're going to do their own things, and whatever. And it was cool, and I liked the idea, but I always could never get past the cartoony elements of One Piece, and I'm so happy that I'm now involved in it. So anyway, back to where we were at before I went on one of my 101 different tangents. Luffy discovers the story of Boa Hancock. The back is not eyeballs that would turn you to stone, which I assumed it wasn't because they didn't spend enough time explaining that for that to be a major plot point that their backs could turn people to stone. They'd only spent like half a chapter in the manga going over that plot point, and I was like, that's not going to be it. There's something else on their backs. Turns out it was the tattoo of the celestial dragons. They go into a whole explanation that if you have been turned into a slave by the celestial dragons, you get this particular tattoo. And we even cut back to Hachi and all those guys and how they all turned it into a symbol of their crew, the Pirates of the Sun or whatever they happen to be going by. And they explain the whole thing. And the reason why the women are hiding it is if their island discovers, or if anybody discovers that this one of the warlords of the sea was once a slave to the celestial dragons, it'll ruin any authority she has. So they can't let anybody know that this is the case. And Luffy, without hesitation, agrees to keep the secret. Now things got weird. You see, Boa decides that she's gonna give, or I don't know if this is a Nico Robin situation. Is it Boa? Is it Hancock? Is it Hancock with a D? What is it? I'm assuming it's what? Okay, if we're going off of the same naming convention of Nico Robin and everyone else, I'm gonna say it's Hancock. It's just everyone calls her Hancock and not Boa, okay? That's going to be my assumption, okay? So Hancock is infatuated with Luffy because he doesn't care about her. So she gives him the boat and she agrees to take him over there. And she, I'm assuming, is in love with him now. So we have the first character that is in love with Luffy. Another element that is usual in every other anime and every other comic book, that there's that one character that is in love with the main character. But we've gone 500 chapters and that has not happened. So, like, it was kind of weird, but also funny at the same time because Luffy is oblivious, like he always is. And Hancock is just fun. Getting her on the crew, turning everyone back. She's playing along, like Luffy yells out, "Oh, I'm stuffed." And the crew's like, she would never say that. So she leans out the window. "Oh, I'm stuffed. Give me more food." The story then finally picks up. Luffy needs to go find his crew, but we discover that Ace is going to be executed. Ace will be executed in, I believe it's like 5 days, but it's gonna take them 6 days to get there unless they can use a special route to get there. So Luffy decides he's gonna go save Ace before he's going to go find his crew. And that's where I've left off. Now, we did cut away and there was 2 chapters showing what happened to everybody else on the crew. And a few of them stood out to me. A few of them were kind of like, okay, whatever. One, Perona. Does she become a main character? Because she came back out of nowhere. I think she was on the island with Zoro. Maybe Zoro. She was on the island with somebody. But Perona's back. The ghost girl with the dolls and the Usopp and all that stuff. Sanji is on another island of women and doesn't want to be there because neither of them are Robin or Nami. That was hilarious because I thought he'd be in heaven and that'd be like a funny joke of dragging him away from an island of women. But nope, he's only got eyes for Nami and Robin. Robin is captured somewhere again. Is that becoming her thing? Is she now just a damsel in distress every other chapter? I don't know what's going on, but she's captured again. And like everyone's just in a different spot. It was quite obvious. No one else really stood out to me, like where they ended up. And maybe we're gonna go to their spots later. I don't know. This was literally like a page per spot per person, so it's not like the chapters spent much time with it. But yeah, that's where we are now. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Just knowing what I know about One Piece, I know we're gonna get to this thing called the post-war arc. Everyone says post-war is amazing, and that's gonna be the time skip. I don't know if that was supposed to be spoilers or not, but everyone's told me that are the spoilers kind of a situation. There's a few things that have been revealed to me just generally looking into One Piece. Funny note, I thought you guys would appreciate any funny things that come out of my wife watching the anime and me rewatching the anime. Her reactions are hilarious. She has a tendency to just watch so many episodes back to back that she then forgets she's watching and then misses key points. Like she missed the episode where Luffy got saved by Miss All Sunday, and I had to explain why Luffy had recovered and Miss Sunday was now being turned against by Crocodile. I had to explain that because she'll sit there and watch, like, when I say she binges it, she sits there and watches like 20 episodes back to back to back, and she stops when she's no longer paying attention. But there's always like one episode that she ends up getting through that she didn't catch and pay attention to. She didn't realize Miss All Sunday was Robin, and I wasn't spoiling it for her until they finally said Nico Robin, and then she was confused that it's Robin because she thought Robin had blue hair. She thought Vivi was Robin. So I thought that was awesome and funny because she got the actual reveal of who Robin was, and it wasn't spoiled for her because I was worried that she would figure it out earlier because Robin looks like Robin. I knew All Sunday was Robin because I know what Robin looks like. So she got the actual reveal of who Robin, like the surprise of that's Robin, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, that's where we are. She paused it like 4 episodes from the finale, and we haven't gone back in like 2 days. And I keep being like, do you want to go finish Alabasta? Like, we can go finish it. And instead, she went back to watching Vampire Diaries. So she's on her own with that one now. But yeah, that's where we are. I'm going to read the next big chapter, which I think is another mini chapter. Then we're at like the big chapter. So we're going to do another one of these like kind of fun time episodes. And I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for your continued support over here at Mangastorian. I did download a bunch of Dragon Ball to read because I got another trip coming up next week. So I got a bunch of Dragon Ball to read. We'll get you a video on that one. And I downloaded a bunch of brand new manga because I do miss talking about new manga and seeing what I thought about it. So we're going to put that out soon too. So thank you guys, and I'll see you next time right here.